documented in 1866 inside the St. Pancras Mortuary, London. This photograph was commissioned as part of a routine post-mortem identification procedure. It shows a deceased male, approximate age 40 to 50, seated upright in a wooden chair against a bare brick wall. The image was filed under case number 417 in the parish coroner's ledger. And it is the reason this case was never closed. Because the body in this photograph, according to every medical record attached to it, had been lying flat on a stone slab for 11 hours before this image was taken. No attendant repositioned it. No apparatus was used. Yet the photograph shows what the coroner's clerk described, in his own hand, as the sitting corpse. Let us begin with what is visible. The photograph is a single albumin print, slightly yellowed at the margins. The man sits in a straight-backed oak chair. His hands rest on his thighs, palms down. His head is not slumped. It is upright, chin slightly raised, as though he were looking at something just above the camera lens. His eyes are closed. His coat is buttoned to the collar. His boots are laced. There is no headrest behind him. There is no visible wire, no clamp, no bracket of any kind that might hold the body in position. In 1866, post-mortem photography was common. Posing the dead was common. But the apparatus required to do so, the iron stands, the neck braces, the rods bolted to the back of the chair, those were always present, always visible, or at least partially visible. In this image, there is nothing. The chair is freestanding. The wall behind it is bare. The man simply sits. The first formal record of this photograph appears in the intake log of the St. Pancras Mortuary, dated November the 14th, 1866. The body had been recovered from the Regent's Canal at approximately 6 in the morning. Cause of death was recorded as drowning. The attending physician, a Dr. Edwin Marsh, noted extensive waterlogging of the lungs and a body temperature consistent with 6 to 8 hours of submersion. The body was placed on the mortuary's central examination slab at 7:15 in the morning. It remained there, under a linen sheet, until the photographer arrived at 6:20 in the evening. 11 hours. Now look at the photograph again. The man is not on a slab. He is not under a sheet. He is seated, fully dressed, in a chair that, according to the mortuary's own inventory records, wasn't present in the examination room. It belonged to the clerk's office, 2 rooms away. The photographer was a man named James Alder. He operated a small studio on Euston Road and had a standing contract with the parish to photograph unidentified remains. Alder's logbook for that evening survives. It was donated to the Camden Local Studies Archive in 1931. His entry for November the 14th reads as follows. Arrived St. Pancras 6:30. Body on table as expected. Prepared plates. Returned to room to find subject seated in chair. No attendant present. Proceeded with exposure. Duration approximately 9 seconds. Subject did not move. Did not move. An unusual thing to write about a dead man, unless you felt the need to confirm it. Look at the image once more. The hands, palms flat on the thighs, fingers slightly spread. Dr. Marsh's post-mortem report, filed that same morning, noted severe rigor mortis in the extremities. He described the fingers as, quote, fixed in a contracted position consistent with cadaveric spasm, end quote. Contracted, curled inward, clenched. And yet in the photograph, taken 11 hours after that examination, the fingers are open, relaxed, spread gently across the fabric of the trousers as though resting there by choice. Rigor mortis does eventually release. That is well established, but it releases uniformly, and the body becomes flaccid. It doesn't become posed. A flaccid body doesn't sit upright in a chair with its chin raised and its palms flat. A flaccid body collapses. There is one more document, A sworn affidavit, dated November the 16th, 1866, 2 days after the photograph was taken. It was signed by the night porter of the mortuary, a man named William Harkett. Harkett stated that on the evening of November the 14th, he had been in the adjacent corridor when he heard what he described as the sound of a chair being dragged across a stone floor. He entered the examination room and found the body seated. He assumed the photographer had arranged it. He left without disturbing the scene. When questioned 2 days later, he was informed that the photographer had not yet entered the room at the time Harkett heard the sound. Alder's logbook confirms this. He was still preparing his plates in the anteroom. Harkett's affidavit ends with a single line that the clerk underlined twice. The chair was not in that room when I began my shift. Return your attention to the photograph one final time. A dead man in a chair. Chin raised, eyes closed, hands open and resting. No apparatus, no wires, no brackets, no attendant who claims to have placed him there. A chair that moved from one room to another. A body that moved from a slab to that chair. And a 9-second exposure in which the photographer felt compelled to note the subject did not move. The case was never classified as anything other than a drowning. The photograph was filed. The body was buried in an unmarked plot in St. Pancras Old Church Cemetery 4 days later. No one claimed it. The coroner added no remarks about the seating position. The affidavit was attached to the file, but never referenced in any official summary. The sitting corpse of St. Pancras remains exactly what it was in 1866. A single photograph, a dead man who should have been lying down, and no explanation, from that day to this, for how he came to be sitting up. The photograph is still in the archive. The chair is still visible. The hands are still open. If the body was moved, someone moved it and never admitted to doing so. If it was not moved, then what sat up on that slab, in that cold room, in November of 1866? What do you believe is visible in this image? Leave your assessment below.